Thanks for inviting me out here to Boston. I know that, who here has been to the Gillette Stadium? A good amount of people. Because I was there yesterday for a conference, and wow, what a great place. I've got to go to a game there. So that's a wonderful, wonderful place. And I think Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks is playing tonight, I think. Yeah, so, but yeah, so I'm Bob Moser. I do a lot of work in safety and design. I've been doing it for probably about, I've been with Jacobs for 23 years, so I've been doing it all those 23 years, right? So what is health and safety and design, right? So it's more of a state of mind than just a process to follow. It's really what you make of it. It's more of a culture, right? Developing a culture, like a safety culture. Applying the principles of prevention to the way that we design for safety and health in construction, cleaning and maintenance, operations of the plant, right, which is most of the plant's lifetime, and then the safe decommissioning of the plant when it's reached its useful lifetime. So delivering the best practice design solutions every time, giving our designers the opportunity to be creative, innovate, and challenge the design norms. So one of the important things is there's no one person that knows everything about design safety or construction safety. It's cumulative. It's all the people. It's the collective brain power of those people that are working on these projects. So what we like to do is we like to give everyone the chance to innovate and to come to the table and let us know exactly if there's any other things that we can do to make a safer facility. Delighting everyone as a result of all of the above, right? So TJ, you like that delighting word, right? If you do this correctly, everybody at the end of it will be very happy with the design that they've presented. So it's a delight. It's not about doing the minimum to meet legal compliance. So the minimum's never the best way to be. It's never the best place to be. So academic research, designing for construction safety. So this is a very important slide because this does lead towards culture, safety culture. How can we all innovate? How can we all make things better for everyone through the plant? A designer's nationality, age, experience, and professional background has a significant impact on their attitude towards designing for construction safety. So a lot of times, certain people will be doing the work and will always be doing that particular function. It's kind of nice to mix it up a little bit, get a little bit diverse, and get different people involved in these types of activities. The safety culture is correlated with the designer attitude towards designing for safety. So one of the things that we've instilled at Jacobs over the years is everyone is designing for safety, right? Everybody's a representative, not just one person. There might be a champion that can champion it, but everybody's involved in it, and everybody's happy about it. And having hands-on experience is an important component to enabling professionals to develop their knowledge, understanding of their role in influencing health and safety. So hands-on experience, right? Everybody has to get in there, get involved, and participate. So how many meetings have people been on where there might be one or two people talking and then no one else is talking, right? Happens all the time. So what I try to do is when I'm leading some meetings, like when I'm leading a HAZID or a PHA or any type of meeting that I'm leading for safety, what I try to do is I try to get those people that aren't talking. It's difficult to do a lot of times when people aren't in the room with you and you're doing it like in a more of a Teams effort or a virtual effort. But I try to do it even in the virtual. So how can we influence positive change in a designer's behavior? Positive designer behavior. We need to focus on influencing design decisions that positively impact both people and the environment over the asset's whole life cycle. So health and safety in design is the impact of the design decisions on the health of construction workers and the users over the asset's whole life cycle, right? So what we try to do is we try to instill that behavior in the designer that's doing the work. They're designing the job, the project. Safety and design, the impact of design decisions taken in selection of material, equipment, construction sequencing, arranging, methodologies. It's very interesting to note that we actually do reward people when there's a safe job, when a design gets put in that the client perceives and that everyone perceives as being a very successful and safe project. We hand out awards, right, to our designers. So we basically reward people for the good work. Environment, the impact of design decisions on the local environment, climate change, sustainability, right? So that's another thing that Jacobs is starting to do, is we're starting to look very heavily into sustainability. So that's kind of coming next. Now this is very interesting. This is, I think someone mentioned the 5 in design for Jacobs. So what this is a hazard wheel that we can have present for the designers so that they can start looking at this wheel and seeing if they have any of these types of hazards identified. And it's kind of in a nice little form there where you can actually visual, right, a visual form. So it identifies the whole life cycle, health and safety, environment and design hazards, enables collaboration right across disciplines, and developed for the design phase. And it was Dr. Matthew Howell's Art and Science Energy. So that's our reference. So, but we've picked this up as something that we use. Now, this here, I think everybody likes this little picture, right? Because you saw the hierarchy of controls, right? The little triangle. Well, this is kind of a different way of presenting it that's a little bit funny, right? It was one of our project managers that did this. So if the inherent safe is actually the bridge that's on the solid ground, right, with the guardrail. So your chances of falling are not very high, right? Then the next one is the more passive design. So you got something holding up the bridge, right? That's your passive. And then active, you got a helicopter holding up the bridge. So obviously not as good, right? Especially if the helicopter pilot's not on the ball. And then you got all those people in the boat holding up the procedures. So that's kind of the last line, right? So you don't want to be the people on the boat holding up the bridge, right? So design with the end in mind, but also design with construction in mind. So what we do is, the first thing that we do when we're going to do a project is we get the team together early in the conceptual designs, and we do what's called a hazard identification. And we go through a checklist, and we start identifying those hazards within that facility. And by doing that, we can start working on the hazards. We can start mitigating those hazards. And we do it very early. Catches a lot of things that we would not normally catch. And then we visualize the design through multiple discipline BIM model. We were talking about the BIM model, right? So what we do is we do 3D reviews, and then we look at like ergonomics, like is this valve in the right spot? So we do that as well. And then exterior elements are like the roofs, the floors, cladding, the stair towers, roofs for fall, stair towers, getting them in early on a job so that way you don't have to build scaffolding or use ladders. And now what I'm going to do is also introduce something interesting. This is modularization, safety, and design. So now over in Europe, they have a very nice safety record. It's better than ours. And like you said, in the UK. And one of the things that Europe's been doing for years is they've been doing a lot of modularization. They do a lot of building in a factory environment and then transporting it to the construction site. So it reduces on-site worker density, reduces worker at height hours, and it also reduces like hot work and heavy lifting and rigging. So this is a very nice slide here. This shows you different elements of a real project that we just did. And this is hot off the presses, right? Work in progress, hot off the presses. This is what one project, very large project, was able to communicate. Stephen Callahan, our Vice President of Construction, was able to demonstrate that we saved 700,000 hours of work at risk height. That's a big success right there. So he's, right now, that team, that construction team, is up for an award through Jacobs. So. And these are the various ways that we did it. You know, building things on the ground and then lifting them and putting them in place. So some of the things I can talk about, like roof design, we're talking about parapets, talking about designing the roof for future maintenance operations. Like for instance, one of our clients is, instead of doing the roof drains, they're doing more of a gutter system, large gutter system, which I think is probably easier to clean, maintain. And then you got, you know, curved roofs we stay away from because they're more, they look nice, but they're very problematic, so. Structural floor slabs, like elevated slabs. Most common approach in the US market is metal decking, rebar, studs, poured concrete, shoring. More so the alternative approach would be appropriate for specific building topographies, common usage in Europe, construction industry, and it's modularized. So again, building it in a controlled environment and then moving it to the site instead of building it on site. Cladding strategies, design aesthetics, ideal, you know, consider the construction methods while you're doing the cladding. Traditional approaches are insulated metal panels, curtain walls, typical stick-built, and the alternative there is the modularization, floor-to-floor, limit work at the building boundary, faster close-in time, and safer site. Also, windows, right? In a lot of cases, the new buildings that we're building, we're really taking a lot of care to design so that we can clean those windows without risking fall. So, like one of the buildings that we were just looking at, we're actually going to make it where we can clean from below, so we don't have to have somebody come down from above. Stair towers, again, same thing. We like to do the modular, and then we get them to the site early, so that therefore you don't have to use ladders, you don't have to use, so you can have the stairs and benefit from that. So we combine the safety and the design to the entire envelope. All right, so I guess we can go with some questions.